Solving the Friendemic is a podcast that contains content from friends and not licensed therapists. Content warnings can be found in the description.
Hey guys, gals, non-binary pals. Welcome to an episode of Solving the Friendemic. You're here with Sabrina,
Holly,
and Kristen.
We had the pleasure to watch something called Kid Nation this time, but before we do that, let's share a little bit about ourselves. I can go first. So I'm Holly, and we were thinking about the animals we most identify with, and I'd say I've always liked elephants a lot, but I think I identify with the standard dog, such as my dogs that you might hear in this podcast today.
Holly, your dogs are not standard. I think you need to describe them a little bit more, because you cannot sit here and be like, oh, you know, just your everyday American dog. That's what Ma'am, no. Try that again.
Okay, true, okay. Just as my dogs are weird, I am also weird. No, I'm just kidding. I am Philip, and I have two dogs. Phoebe, who looks like Ed from The Lion King. Truly, I don't know how else to describe her. She has an overbite and a lazy eye.
Which was just diagnosed.
Very recently.
Yeah, we went to the vet recently. We switched vets, and the vet came in and kind of solemnly, like quietly was like, "Did you know that your dog has a lazy eye?" We both busted laughing because she's 4 years old, and we definitely knew. It's very obvious. But she is wonderful. She's 4 years old. She's a rat terrier mix. And then I have Finn, who is a most kindly aggressive dog.
Very aloof at times.
Yes, he barks at you at first, but then he ends up loving you, and then he only wants to throw his body into you, which is why I mean kindly aggressive to get pets. But yeah, so I would say I am the not so standard house pet dog.
Now, have you had them both since they were puppies?
Yeah, Phoebe we got when she was 5 months old. But Finn we got when he was 2 or 3 months old.
I just wasn't 100% because I was like, is it that her lazy eye is obvious because she's an older dog? Or is it because you've known her for quite a while?
For quite a while. We literally wanted to get her because she looked so weird. And she had some special needs. And people weren't able to adopt her. But once we adopted her, like, we decided we'd take on the responsibility. But then also they weren't really that big of needs anyway. And she's wonderful. So it's kind of like she just was this magical dog that had these weird things about her that are just personality quirks and not necessarily medical problems. Which is good.
I am deceased.
Am I supposed to do my pasta order too?
No, what? No, I think it's just what pasta you identify with.
I mean,
it could be your pasta order if you want.
Right now, I am on a weird diet where I have to do gluten-free pasta at the moment. I'd say any like red lentil pasta is really good, or cauliflower pasta. Or honestly, anything that's kind of weird looking, like bow ties, I'm down for. It makes you feel like you're doing something special, but really, you're just eating pasta.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, Kristen.
So, my name is Kristen, and the animal that I am identifying with at the moment, now I feel like I've always had a kindred spot for this, but a red panda. Love red pandas. Love me some Pabu. Katara. Yes.
Cora.
Actually, sorry, Cora. Yeah, pardon, Cora. Cora.
You just got nerd-splained.
I did. Thank you, Holly.
Ooh.
Keeping me in check.
I'm pushing up my glasses as I say it.
In an anime fashion, like, you know, the flash of light comes on and it's
yeah.
This plebeian doesn't know. It's time to dual knowledge.
But yes, I love Pabu. He's great.
Yes. And so then the pasta, I think I am fusilli. No, I'm cavatappi. And then what I am vibing with this week is So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings by Squirrel Flower. If you haven't heard that version, that's really good.
Is this a squirrel?
It's
that
a song.
Think is hot?
It's a song.
I need to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that on my list.
We can't play it because we are hella broke. But go look it up.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. And my favorite animal growing up was a bunny. I was conditioned to like bunnies. My parents have always called me Brie Bunny. As an adult, I just really love possums. I mean, I think they're the coolest marsupial around. And Mom, if you're listening to this, stop hating possums. I think that's rude. Anyway,
Mom, we have something to talk about.
Mom, it's time. I've been sending her photos of possums being cute, which is not very hard because all photos of possums are cute, but I digress. However, the animal that I personally relate to is a stoat. And the reason that is when I took the Pottermore test, found out that's my, what is it called?
Patronus.
Yes, so
What is
Nerd-splained.
boom. It's time to duel. Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna come after us. They're gonna be like, we're gonna duel you in the courtroom.
Honestly, though, being taken down by Yu-Gi-Oh would be really interesting. Like, you know, that'd be interesting. I mean, that could be fun.
Dear Konami, because I think that's who I'm.
Blue eyes, white dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, would the courtroom just be a card game?
I enter the courtroom ready with my card stack.
It's turned in fighting position.
In fighting position, I present I'm unemployed. And if you sue me, I have nothing to give you. Take my fighting spirit and +1. Duel. Anyway, I identify with stoats.
Nice.
Because that's my Patronus. And prior to that, I didn't know what a stoat was. And then I Googled it. And I was like, yeah, I can vibe with you.
What is a stoat?
Well, they're like kind of mink looking. If you've seen a mink, what they make lashes out of, which is sad. We do not,
It's a cat.
It's a cat?
Stoats aren't cats. What? They're cats? They're weasels.
Oh, it's a weasel cat.
This is what they look like. They look kind of like meerkats.
Oh, they're super cute.
Yeah. They're like ferret adjacent. What, am I going to get canceled for saying that?
No.
They're
no.
adjacent to weasels. Anyway, that's all you have to know is that I like stoats. My pasta. So I too have dietary issues, and I'm doing keto, or as people prefer to call it, a low carb diet. Because I've noticed when I say I'm doing keto, people get mad at me. But if I say I'm doing a low carb diet with low sugar, people are like, that's excellent. I love that for you.
You do you.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, hi, I'm just existing. I'm not trying to promote diet culture by any means. I have PCOS, and this is what I'm trying to relieve some of my symptoms.
Nice.
Please don't come at me. So with that in mind, previously, I was a penne pasta kind of gal. But nowadays, you can see me rocking with Miracle Noodle. I don't know if you guys have heard of them.
No.
They're incredible. They're the closest of creating a noodle-like substance. I can't tell you what it's made of. I could probably Google it, but it's going to be too much work.
Tapioca. A lot of things are made by like rice flour.
Oh.
You know, it might be that.
I don't think, because keto, rice
You
isn't
can't
keto.
tell.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So
Never mind.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can't do boba, because tapioca.
Yeah.
Sad
makes sense.
news.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. A girl is gonna survive. But currently, probably Miracle Noodle.
Noodle.
Miracle Noodler.
Miracle.
That's my superhero name. I'm the Miracle Noodler.
Currently, I like that Miracle Noodler.
I slap people with noodles.
Actually,
Quite
and you're like, instead of wham, it'd be canoodle.
Canoodle. Don't let me canoodle you.
I'll fusilli you later.
You've been bow tied. It's just ninja stars. Sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna stuff you like ravioli.
Sorry, Sabrina. Alright, keep going.
I can't. Anyway,
Okay.
what am I vibing with this week? I am a connoisseur of trash TV, and I've been watching a lot of Are You the One with my husband, and I enjoy that. We like to see the character development and the growth of people, and I also like when they start drama. I think that's fun, and it's hilarious. And I've been playing a lot of Hello Kitty Cruisers.
Oh, that.
And Holly's laughing because I have a lot of feelings about it. First of all, Sanrio, I'm a big fan of your work, okay? So how the hell are you gonna tell me that if I go into the Nintendo Switch store, and I get it, the game was on sale. I still expect a quality product on the Nintendo Switch store. Now, you may argue with me and be like, ma'am, it's an older game. Like, you can find the Freddy Fish game and what's the name of that car that used to be an old CD game? He would time travel sometimes. He was purple.
Oh, the dragon?
He was a car.
Oh.
He was most definitely a car.
Oh, like you see him? Oh, no.
He's
it's Not
purple.
Green Hornet. It's not, shoot, what is it called? Oh, that's right. Thank you, Kristen. What is it called? It's not, I can see it in my head, and it was really cool, and it was electronically nifty. It was like a purpley car from like the 80s. Wasn't it in the 80s?
No. Nope, it's definitely the 2000s.
Oh. I'm thinking
Oh,
of
there
something
he is.
different.
His name's Putt Putt.
Oh, I was not thinking of that at all. That looks like fun, though.
All right. So recently, Putt Putt, Freddy Fish, and the Fox guy, they all got ported to the Nintendo Switch. And you could argue, hey, those are old games. Yes. But this game came out in 2014. And there is no excuse for a game that came out in 2014 when you turn your car that you are stuck and it's seizing. Okay? Also, if you're turning and you're Tokyo drifting, that should give you a speed boost, not just a sound effect. Lastly, if you're going to have a sound effect and you're on an airplane or a boat, it shouldn't go vroom vroom.
I'm in me mom's car.
Love that. I don't love it on the Hello Kitty. Also, diversify your tracks.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I love Hello Kitty. This goes out to you, girl.
You're like, better save that in part because I've been pretty mad at this.
Actually, I was sobbing the other day because I was listening to the K-I-T-T-Y, K-I-T-T-Y. Everybody say Hello Kitty. I'm going to start crying. Which brings me to my question of the day. Do you guys have random nostalgic things that make you inexplicably sob when you hear it, see it, or experience it?
Like cry? Like
actually,
sadness?
Or just feel
Or
immense...
feelings?
Just feeling immense emotions.
Oh, man.
Beyblades.
I was not expecting that to come out of your mouth.
Bop it.
Fucking poppets.
Twist it.
I'm the type of kid that I needed more processing speed for Bop It than what it gave me, and so I'd only get through like 1 or 2 levels. Girl, it would just
my
be
highest
sad.
score was over 2,000.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
So, like, for an example, when I see Vincent Van Gogh, because I learned about him in middle school when I first got my period. This is not a joke. This is a real story.
I'm sorry we're both laughing, but this is what you said.
It's a real story.
It's the convergence of both events. Like, middle school's already terrible.
I know, right?
Periods
That's why I ended up
are
getting
terrible.
homeschooled. But, you know, like, when I think about him for too long, like, I actually start, like, sobbing. And so, that one I chalk up to period. But the Hello Kitty song, like the theme song, it just makes me a puddle of mess. And maybe I just have a mental issue. But I was curious. I wanted to bring it to the crowd and see, does anybody else have a nostalgic thing that makes them feel?
Reading Rainbow.
Oh, LeVar Burton.
Reading Rainbow.
It's in a book.
We're going to have to redact this because we do not have the rights to Reading Rainbow.
And Mr. Rogers, like, just sweetest guy.
PBS is free, so you could probably sing that.
Probably. You could sing the Barney song. I can't think of anything for mine. Like, I have some super nostalgic things, like, especially books and, like, you know, reading all the time is extremely nostalgic. Like, okay, wait, I do have one. Okay, and I know we talked about Harry Potter last time, but here we are again at the door of Hogwarts. This is not gonna happen all the time. I just remember there are like specific times when you think about when you were reading something or when you were listening to something, the first time you heard a certain song, or you know how people think about with 9/11, like when they heard the news, that type of connection makes me really nostalgic. So I remember my sister was having a dental surgery just from an accident. She had fallen and hurt her teeth. So I had to stay at the hospital, and I think my mom was there with my sister in the room. And just for some background knowledge, my sister has developmental disability. And so my mom was in there with her, and I was reading the 5th Harry Potter book where you learn about Neville's backstory and about like this tender moment of his mom who has a mental disability from previous events in the book. And so she gives Neville a bubblegum wrapper, and you don't really hear much about it, but at the end of the chapter or later on in the story, the narration says that he just silently puts it in his pocket, even though his grandmother told him to throw it away. And I just remembered like reading that, sitting for my sister, kind of being alone because I had to wait for something that was really long. And like that makes me like want to well up, like that immediate remembering of the idea of the world I was in, but also the world I was reading about and getting that like immediate connection. So like things like that, totally. But I don't, not anger or anything. I don't have an anger connection.
I don't feel like either of the connections that I brought up were fueled in anger. But I loved hearing your Harry Potter story. I feel like that's so important. And
Thank you.
and see, when we share things like this, I feel like we end up learning not only more about each other, but more about the things that shaped us.
Yeah.
How about you, Kristen? Do you have a little whammy dammy for us?
Also, real quick, sorry to go back to the anger part. I was thinking of your Hello Kitty story.
Oh.
So when I was saying back to the anger thing, it was not about your Van Gogh. I was going back to your need for satisfaction from the Hello Kitty game, but that's a current need.
Don't put out a game in 2014 and port it in 2022 if you can't make a turn. Fuck Hello Kitty Cruisers.
Sorry, Kristen. I've done this. I've got her back.
What's your emotional story, Kristen?
Well, my emotional story is just about as long as the Bible, so, like, I digress. But really, which chapter?
Like, what's something that makes you nostalgic? And it doesn't have to be sad. It could be a happy nostalgia.
Okay, so the first time we had lived in the US, and we were just coming from Canada, and we had to look for a house, and my brother and I, we found this house that had in the basement, like, a bar. My parents never used it for a bar, but we just used it as like a multi-story mansion for our Barbies. And it was just a lot of fun. And I think about that, and there were glasses, and, we would put water in the crystal wine glasses and do the whole like Miss Congeniality kind of...
The water glasses? Are you trying to make music?
Yeah. But... I enjoyed those times because we would be stuck in the basement, not forcefully stuck in the basement, but...
You mean you weren't kidnapped?
No. But just so my mom could sleep so she could work night shifts and stuff. And, I look at a good basement and I just get weepy. No.
I get that.
I'm kidding.
I'm dying.
No, it's not the basement. It's the bar. The bar makes me weepy.
Bye.
Well, I really appreciate you guys for getting vulnerable with me and going down that nostalgia trip. I bring up nostalgia because, as Holly mentioned earlier, today we watched a little bit of Kid Nation. Full disclosure, I have seen this series at least 11 times. For me, Kid Nation makes me really nostalgic because it's one of the shows my dad and I used to watch together when it was coming out live. And we would just always come up with theories. I just remember it being a really big bonding thing for my dad and I. And so, on that note, we kind of talked about, one, it's a really good thing to watch to look at, like, how do people collaborate? What are good friendships in that? What are bad friendships? And we wanted the first series that we covered to be something that's accessible. So you can watch it for free on YouTube if you just do a little goog. Give it a goog.
A Google?
In the words of Jillian Pensalvale from True Crime Obsessed. What are some of the reasons that TV can lead to friendship?
I think that, number one, just in America, TVs are normally in our living rooms. So a lot of times when you have people over, it's a central point of what you're already looking at. For one thing, just the idea of the environmental factor. But secondly, I think TV is just fun because you see people doing weird things or doing things that you like or doing things you don't like. And so TV can give you a lot of things to talk about and a lot of places to, just to access and giggle about and get angry about. I love TV. I think it's so much fun to understand. And even YouTube has come out with a lot more things to watch now too. I know we've shared a bunch of YouTube channels with our friends, and I joked last time that me and Philip are like the YouTube people at parties. So we end up finding the way to get to the remote, and we're like, "Watch this weird thing! You have to see this weird thing!" And then
They take you hostage with YouTube videos.
yes, and then we kill a party.
Actually, okay, so I've been a victim of this before. And because of this, I have found some things I really like. Like, I would have never known about Fundy Fridays or All Gas, No Breaks, but he has a new channel now, right?
Yeah, it's Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan.
For me, when somebody suggests a TV show, or if I suggest something and they watch it, that's actually, I know it's not like an official love language, but for me, it kind of feels like one because you're able to share part of like your personality with them.
Yeah.
And you're getting to see something that they like, and you're able to be like, oh wow, we have similar humor. Oh wow, we do not have the same humor.
Yeah.
It's telling, right?
Well, and it's just like quality time. It's a really low key way to be with people. And you know, like when you're emotionally not needing to be all there, or you just need to kind of retreat in yourself a little bit, but you still want to be with your friends, it's a super easy way just to be two people or be a group or however many people and just sit, still have your own thoughts, or you know, you don't have to say anything, but you're just with people, and that's what I like about it.
It's a lot of fun. We've shared a lot of TV shows together, just as friends, even in the shorter time we've been together.
Yeah.
And I know we've already talked about this too, but I like watching stuff that's bad. Like, I want shows that are necessarily not great, like new shows. I want bad shows. I want trashy shows.
I call it popcorn TV. Like, it's just so bad that you just have to continue.
Yes. Yes, I love those.
I love garbage TV.
Yes.
That is what I thrive off of. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a Game of Thrones girl. I've seen the Haps, all right? I keep up. I watch Harley Quinn. You know, I have things that are serious. I've watched Anna Dalve. You know, like we've really... Queen's Gambit. We are women of substance as well. However...
Outlander.
Outlander?
Substance. When you're talking about substance, Outlander.
Ma'am, Jem Fraser is...
Fraser. He can take me to Fraser's Ridge. Woo.
Trash TV, I think I love it so much because it's so messy. And it's nice to see how would the choices that come in my head play out, right? Like, you know when you get those impulse thoughts, like, what would happen if I jumped on this table right now and drew this plate? But I don't get to do it because then people would commit me.
Yes, thank you for not doing that in my room.
Yes, people might think I'm unstable if I do that. But it's nice to see it play out on TV and know, oh, that's what would have happened if I had followed that impulse.
It's kind of like, you know, you learn from... The wise person learns from the fool. You know?
Which one is the wise one and which one is the fool?
Am I choosing between y'all?
I was just kidding.
Oh.
Do it. No,
No, I'm not, because you both are very wise and sagacious ones.
Just put Kristen in a very
You
hot
both
seat
are very
recently.
foolicious.
Kristen just avoided the most proverbial of smackdowns. There was about to be an impulse control that I may have not been able to control.
And see, I would have been mad if I wasn't chosen as the fool.
I think you both, in a way, which is like, what?
We're the Hannah Montana of the fool and the wisdom. You get the best of both worlds.
I won't sing it because of copyright, but I could. It's funny. No, yeah.
Meep it.
It could meep it?
Meep, 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 meep,
Like the
meep.
Muppets?
Meep,
Oh.
meep, meep.
You know that song, na, 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 na.
No.
It sounds... It kind of sounds familiar. Keep going.
But, so there's this one YouTuber that goes, beep, bing, 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 ba, bing, 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 bong, bing, bing, beep, ba, bing, 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 bong, bing, bong.
No, but I want to see it now. I like the bing bongs.
It's so good.
Oh, but go ahead. Can I say something real quick about TV shows? Or did you have something?
No, go.
I want to talk about TV shows. I just got to thinking. You talked about making songs and like singing Hannah Montana, and it made me think. I was a Nick kid, and I remember having so much fun talking about TV shows with kids growing up. Like, did you guys ever do that when you were in elementary and middle school, even in high school? Like, I loved the TV show Heroes Oh my gosh. I was a fan girl. I had the t-shirt I wore every Tuesday when it came out that said, "Save the cheerleaders, save the world." Oh my gosh. I had like, I made a pumpkin and like the F symbol that was in the show one year. Oh, I fell hard into fangirl into that show. That was the first one. I remember making friends because of it at high school because I would wear the shirt and people would know what it was. And then some people wouldn't and I would look really weird.
See, like, I didn't really get, I mean, living overseas and stuff, like, as a teen, I had, like, limited resources to what I could watch based on, like, what AFN, so AFN is not, like, America's Funniest Home Videos, that's AFV, but, like, you know, it's Air Force Network, so whatever they were showing, whether it was the weather guy with the weird parrot puppet kind of thing on his shoulder, but as a kid, I remember I thoroughly enjoyed Zaboomafoo, and, you know, I had that stuff, and come on Zoom, and, you know, like, all of those nostalgic things, but...
You know his granddaughter is here, right? Zaboomafoo's?
In North Carolina?
In Duke, yeah.
What?
Zaboomafoo's either his granddaughter or his great-granddaughter lives here in Duke.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's big news. Wait, I'll look it up. Maybe it's his great-great-granddaughter.
I mean, I'm sure lemurs have, their lineage is a lot longer than ours. But,
Wow.
Yeah, so born in Durham. So the actual Zaboomafoo was born in Durham, NC in 1994. He died in 2014. And he had Ferdinand, Gertrude, Maria, Matilda, Gisela, Marius, Wilhelmina. Wait, how do you say that?
Wilhelmina.
Wilhelmina. Yeah.
Wilhelmina.
That's pretty.
Wilhelmina.
I didn't know how to say it. Rufus Adelaide, which I actually like the name Adelaide for a
I
child.
do too.
Oh my god, are we all gonna name our child Adelaide?
No.
Dang.
It's a cute name though.
Conrad, Getta, Charlemagne, and Edward, and his parents were Nigel and Flavia.
Flavia.
What a name. Actually, I'm just gonna assert dominance right now. My children's name are going to be Ava Victoria.
I like how you said it as assert dominance. Like, no one shall take these names, whoever listens to this podcast.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, stop. No, I mean, keep listening. But don't name your children this because I've already claimed it. Ava Victoria and Hudson Ford. You might be wondering, why Hudson Ford? I like the name Hudson a lot. My husband wanted to name our future male child Harrison Ford because of the Star Wars franchise. Now, I like Star Wars. Not enough to name my child after the actor. So Hudson Ford was what we call a compromise. Because in any partnership you have, you too may need a compromise. I also liked Waverly for a while.
Oh, that's nice.
But
Wizards of Waverly Place.
that's exactly why.
TV show. Yep, really?
And Willow. I liked Willow.
Oh, Willow.
But Ava Victoria. So y'all want to try me? Because... And that goes out to you, airwaves.
Come at me.
This message was brought to you by both of these hands. They're rated E for everyone.
We're
So
the
if-
kids of America. Oh, wait, never mind. We can't sing that.
I'm just every time we get 2 beats into a song, I'm just gonna go like and make a longer noise.
Like, that reminds me of Jimmy Neutron, though. The Kids of America.
Me too, the movie.
Yeah.
The movie was so
it
fun.
Maybe we should watch that.
I have
Oh,
never
down for
seen
it.
that.
Oh, it's
What?
fun.
Wait,
It's
like,
really
you've
fun.
never seen the show Jimmy Neutron?
No, I've never seen the movie.
The
Oh, we
movie's
need to
fun.
watch the
movie's
movie.
really fun. That's a nostalgia trip right there. Now, are there probably some plot problems? Yes, but it'll be really fun.
Okay, I do have one random thought.
Okay.
So, PBS show, there's like 3 kids, and there's like a robotic bird and motherboard.
Oh my god. Cyber Chase.
Cyber Chase!
Oh, I remember that show. It's all about math.
The bird was not a robot.
Wait, it was a real bird. I'm okay with it being real. I just need to know.
Now I'm concerned that I'm wrong. He was purple. I just felt like the robots were obviously robots, so why would the bird be a secret robot? There he is.
No, okay.
He's a real bird.
His name is Digit.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
He is
Oh my god, you're right. He's a robot.
Yeah.
He's a robot!
He is. He's a robotic cybird from cyberspace. Yeah. So you were right. Good job. You did
Okay,
well. Would you like to see a
okay.
picture of them
I
for
feel
nostalgia?
offended.
Okay, but you know those shows that you feel like weren't real, and then you have to check yourself?
Yeah.
Sagwa the cat was mine.
I loved Sagwa.
Yeah, see,
I
you're the
just
same age as
grew
my
up-
sister. That's why, right? Because
Yes.
So that's why I know those shows because she watched all those shows.
I'm gonna be a quarter of a century this year.
No, I remember Sagwa. Mine was Chalk Zone. I thought Chalk Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was so afraid it wasn't real because I never could find it.
And the big comfy couch.
My sister
I
loves
love
that show. My sister watches that show now. It's her favorite
It's
show.
still on?
She has all of like the DVDs and like that kind of stuff, and like you can watch it on I think Amazon Prime. But
Oh,
she
no, I'm
is
not
gonna
giving
be
Amazon that, but yeah.
she's gonna be Lunette for Halloween. Yeah,
Aw.
like true thing. Yeah, we're gonna give her a name tag that says I'm Lunette because we're not sure
Oh
people
my
are gonna
gosh,
know
and
who she is.
she needs a Molly dolly.
She has one.
Yes.
She has one, and she has a purple hat and everything.
Okay, can I be a dust bunny?
Oh my gosh, please. That's how they talk. And they'll
Look, you could have done a content warning just like that.
just do a dust bunny, but you won't be able to hear anything. It'll be. Do you remember Maggie and the Ferocious Beast?
Yes!
Yeah. Yep. See, yep.
Hamilton the pig is why I'm married to my husband. Because I simped for Hamilton at 5. And I simped for my husband at 25. And he is Hamilton the pig. He's also Levi from Attack on Titan.
Okay, that's like the greatest compliment, though.
It is though. At some point, we have to do an episode about like our friendships with our husbands because it is a type of friendship. All right, but let's get into some Kid Nation. As Sabrina said, it's free on YouTube, so look it up. So we got to watch the first episode, which just to give a premise of Kid Nation, if you have not heard of it or watched it, it was made in the 2004, I think. What was it, Sabrina? 2004? Something early 2000s.
It was 2007.
2007. Okay.
So that was 15 years ago for those who are also mathematically challenged.
And it was the premise that what if we take 40 children and put them into an empty town, like Bonanza is the name of it, but it's like a Western town, and they run it and they make the rules and they come up with their government systems kind of, and they have to do challenges to make this place better. And so it was very interesting and very unethical. And I had not watched it up until maybe a year ago. I saw a YouTube commentary video on the first episode, but I have not sat down and watched it. So it was really fun today to watch it.
For myself, I knew nothing of Kid Nation until like when we discussed that we would be watching it. I have not seen any clips. I have not seen any memes. So I am a Kid Nation virgin and I just had my cherry popped.
When Kristen says when we discussed, what she really means is I forced everybody. But they were willing participants. I mean, like, consent is important. But I think basically the conversation was, have you guys seen Kid Nation? What? We're watching Kid Nation. Similar to the Jimmy Neutron conversation I think we just had now.
Yeah.
That's basically how it works. Is like one of us is like, do this. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then we do the thing.
And we've talked a little bit about on the podcast about how we want to invite you guys as listeners to go about weird challenges with us and weird things that we're doing, but fun things that we're doing and examples of what you might do with friends or how to make friends. So recommending TV shows or finding people that have similar interests as you do in TV shows is a great way to kind of get that conversation going. So Kid Nation was super fun too, because there's so much to talk about in it. I mean, it's just ridiculous how many, like, number one, they had kids as young as 8 on the show without their parents, just whisked into the desert, dropped off by a school bus, and told there are no adults to help you. Like, they had a camera crew and of course the person who was the host,
yeah.
but like, you don't have any adults that are making dinner for them or like, you know, putting them into beds and like making sure that they're safe. Like, it's just
The amount of interference with this is none. Like,
None.
literally, Lord of the Flies meets 2007, Bonanza, hot desert, dust clouds, and like whatnot. It was terrible. I do not agree, and I do not consent to this. I consent to watching it, but if there's ever to be a recreation of this, you will be sued. You will be found. And
I'm in the complete opposite camp. I, quite frankly, would love for the show to reignite in 2022 with the same amount of restriction as before, which means no restriction. I think it's hilarious, and I think the kids get paid. And so here's my thing. If they're getting paid and they consent to it, there you go, baby. Like, I don't know.
Yes, but you look at Shirley Temple, who has written a memoir about her experience as a child actor.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
That's Annie.
Isn't that Shirley Temple?
No.
I thought that was the same actress.
Yeah. Annie.
Which version of Annie are you watching?
I think
Wait.
the original, right?
Wait a second. Hold on.
You're thinking Daddy Warbucks, redhead?
Yes. Who do you think played Annie?
Not Shirley.
Shirley Temple.
What was Shirley Temple in then, if not Annie?
Animal crackers. You know, she has very curly hair. I understand why you guys think Shirley Temple was Annie.
I also know that Shirley Temple's a drink that, you know who else could drink? Children.
Yeah, that's right. I used to get those at like TGI Fridays.
Okay, but
I
children
love
drinking
TGI
bleach
Ha!
is
All
not
right,
Shirley Temple's.
First of all, spoiler alert. Secondly, it's not even caught on camera. Lastly, they got paid out in the lawsuit. All right, here's my thing. I'm not saying, listen, let's be serious. I'm not about child endangerment. I am about entertainment, though, and I
It
think
is entertaining. I will give it that. It is
I do
entertaining.
concur.
And it's not like, okay, yes, it says no adults. The cameras are operated by adults. The director is an adult. These people, the children are not completely adultless. And obviously
right.
they did have to intervene with the bleach thing. They didn't not take the kid to the hospital. Like, I think sure you could do a little bit better with the safety protocols. But I thought it was hilarious. And I think if you're a willing participant and your parents are willing, I think kids do dangerous stuff all the time. And I also don't think we give kids credit enough. When you look at Montessori teaching, we're teaching children at 2 years old how to cook, how to be self-sufficient, how to clean. So there's nothing to say that children aren't capable of these things if we're not giving them the opportunity.
No,
to
I
do
totally
it.
believe
Completely,
it. But
completely.
Should we value off of it? And should there be production? And should it be recorded? Yes. I think it's hilarious and it should be. We don't have to agree.
I think. Did you want to go ahead?
no, go ahead.
I think the thing would be better restrictions and better training. Because one of the things I was thinking about watching it, because I am an elementary school teacher, is that collaboration is taught. Like, you teach kids how to collaborate. It's a skill they have to practice, not necessarily one that they innately know. And so one of the things I noticed was a lot of opportunities where collaboration could be taught. Like, how do you notice a problem, assert yourself, show how to do it better? Like with Sophie, there's a girl named Sophie in it who notices that she's better as a cook than some of the other students, or not students, of course. See, now I'm in my
Children.
But like, so knowing, like, she did a great job of asserting herself and saying, no, we need food. This is important. Let me show you how to make mac and cheese. But that was after they had spilled all of the mac and cheese they had started to make. So
By the way, which was like 5 pounds worth of pasta.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
So limited resources,
Yes.
but I digress.
But yeah, completely though. So I think it's a great opportunity to teach kids how to be collaborative. In schools, what you do is you set up how to listen, how to respond, how to show you're actively listening, how to use sentence structures like I agree with or I disagree with, you know, that type of feeling. You teach that. That's how you learn how to be collaborative. But from watching this, I got major, we have a substitute energy. Like, that's the energy I got from this show. I'm like, oh, there's no one here that knows what our school is used to, which is what I mean by substitute energy.
Mm-hmm.
When kids have a substitute, it's like, oh, they don't know what we do. They don't know our reward system, so we're going to wreak havoc, right? Like, that's the substitute
I'm going to
energy.
tell the teacher that it's Kevin Bacon. Or no, I'm sorry. Not Kevin Bacon. Francis Bacon. Because we totally did that in high school.
You told a teacher that it was...
Not me, but my classmates convinced our substitute teacher that it was Francis Bacon.
So it was totally Kristen, and she's now gaslighting all of us behind. So we don't know that she's actually the master pranker. Which, speaking of master pranking, I think at some point we should prank people.
Let's do it.
Because pranks bring people closer.
Okay, but I am the Winston of pranks. Like, it's either like nothing or it's all. Like, I go too far.
Oh, see, I am right in the middle of stupid. Like, one of my best friends, the reason that we were friends in college is that we would just prank each other all the time. Jason, I'm talking about you. like putting things. I would like write little notes that said like "you're stupid" on it, like just tiny little notes that said, which weren't true, but I would like somehow get into his room where his roommate was. We all lived in the same dorm, and sneak them into the pockets of his shirt. So every once in a while, he's like walking to class and he feels something in his shirt, and he'd take it out and it says "you're stupid." Like just the right amount of stupid. Yes, let's prank.
So, see, I'm a little concerned because I like to mentally torture people. I like people to get to the brink of insanity and then bring them back and then once again put them into the brink of insanity.
Okay, so we now know that Holly is the low end of that spectrum, and then Sabrina is full throttle.
I can't help it. I was born of the prank master, who was my mother. For instance, she would like call her cousin with a voice modulator and a hidden number, and she would be like, "Do a little dance for me. I see you, Liana." And Liana would do it because she didn't know what else to do.
I think the best pranks are when you first think you're crazy, and then you start like laughing about it because you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then you immediately know who did it to you. Like, that's what I want it to be.
Oh no, I don't like leaving a paper trail.
We did see some pranking happen in this episode. There were the older kids, right? Greg.
From Team Blue.
Team Blue, that's right. And that was interesting to me to see the lack of collaboration, but also a positive way of collaboration because the boys collaborated together.
They were uniting.
They were uniting.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. Writing the word blue in chalk over the signs, which is, again, is very, very low key, not a big problem. Now, what is a big problem is having one outhouse for 40 children. Oh my gosh.
I almost flipped a turd when the prize. So in the show, they do these team events, and there's like this big thing that they can win, and they force these kids to choose between either something that will help them survive or something that gives them just immense amounts of pleasure, like a bouncy house or a TV, or just things that in the end will never actually help them survive. One of the kids rationalized for the TV, saying, "It can give us tornado warnings." like
I would hope the adults on set would do that.
But 7 outhouses for 40 kids versus a TV. I'm
so proud of them.
I
Spoiler.
am. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, kids.
Spoiler, they did choose the...
I have a little hope.
Yeah, the outhouses. Yeah.
So I think when thinking about Kid Nation or TV in general, something that really came to mind was first impressions, right? Mm-hmm. And it is really important to make a good first impression, but it's not detrimental. Like, it's not over if you make an awkward impression with someone. That doesn't mean you can't be their friend. So I did want us to kind of explore, like, what kind of first impressions did we see and how did that play out through the first episode?
Yeah, well, I mean, Michael killed it. There's a kid named Michael in the show, and so the average age, I'd say, is about 10, probably, for all of them, 10 or 11. I think Michael's like 12. But at one point,
I think he's actually
14.
Is he one of the older ones?
Oh, Michael, the older one. Okay, not Mike. Sorry.
No, not one of the leaders.
Mike was not killing it. Mike was not killing it. Mike is a council member, and let's talk about his first impression.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
He comes off just like, I know better than you. And by that I don't mean like, oh, I am no better than you. No, he's like a actually D&D daddies. You get me. He's like kind of like a actually kind of fella. Uh-huh. He would not carry his weight, and he was so stuck, I think, on having a power of authority kind of vibe that he had no interest in connecting with people. He just wanted to lead them, and we all know that doesn't work out.
No, and then he did do better during the challenge when he actually stepped into his leader role. So that shows that maybe first impressions aren't always, what you should go by, which I know you said something about that. However, yeah, at first, terrible. The other ones, there was Mike, who was one of the 4 leaders that they decided would be the leaders of the 4
factions.
Thank you, Kristen. But
actions.
Then there's Michael, who stands up during an argument that all of the kids are having in one of the mess halls where they're eating, and he says something about like, we're representing our hometown, we're representing kids, we're supposed to be doing this to show that we can get together and make a town. And he full on brought everybody in. Great first impression, being able to stand up and unite people. Thought that was amazing. He could, I think, a skill that I would say, even as a teacher almost, he could see the bigger picture and know how to understand the bigger picture. I call it a big problem versus a small problem. Like, he noticed there was a bigger problem in the room than the small problem of a couple of them being hungry, which is still a problem, but
I think the other thing is he could articulate it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
the biggest thing for me, is that he's so well spoken for a younger person, which is funny because now he's probably our age, which is hilarious.
Well, if he was 14 then, so I was 12, so he is 2 years older than me. So
yeah.
yeah, around our ages.
Yeah. I think there were some other, pretty okay impressions. You know, I think you either knock it out of the park or it's okay. I think personally, I'd rather just be okay or knock it out of the park. I think either one is a first
Definitely
impression.
a neutral
Yeah.
impression. Like, definitely don't want a bad impression because, you know, people really scratch that and burn that into their head. But yeah, you want to be memorable enough, say.
Well, what would you recommend would be a way to make a neutral or good impression? Do you guys all have recommendations? What you would do?
Well, I know what you're saying, though, about the fear of a good impression. Like, I think Michael's impression now stands out so much that there's pressure on him to, like, continue giving that. Not that it's a facade, but to give that kind of energy. And, like, that could have just been one good day.
Yeah.
But as far as giving a good impression, this is a lesson I'm still learning. But sometimes when I come into a room, I want to be right there in the action. I want to give a lot of energy. But I've learned really the best thing for me to do is, yes, engage and like share who I am. But I'm trying to do less of like taking space and instead being more present. And by that, I don't mean like dwindling my light or my personality, because I think that's going to come out either way. And I think that's a really important thing to learn. And it's hard.
Well,
Yeah, it's great.
and like, I'll add on to that because growing up, I did have friends, and, you know, moving around, I had to make friends constantly. I also had to say goodbye to friends constantly. So I always kind of just lived in the neutral zone. Like, I didn't want to stand out because, like, the fear of, one, being turned down, but then also, like, I didn't want to make a bad impression per se. So I feel like active listening, I always kind of just got a feel for the room. And as that happened, it's weird to say, but I'm kind of like tofu or cauliflower in the sense that you put me in something and I'll end up kind of tasting like that. Like,
Can I jump in with an example?
Yeah.
At my bridesmaids luncheon before my wedding, you were the one I wanted to sit next to my mom because I knew, first of all, that you're a wonderful person. But second of all, I knew you would be a great conversationalist for my mom versus other people that are wonderful people, but maybe my mom wouldn't know how to talk to as easy. Like, you're a great conversationalist and such a nice, like, person to be with anybody, so I'm with you
I
on
love
that.
being tofu.
I think it's great, and I think you can be the spicy tofu if you want to. Like, it doesn't have to just be plain tofu.
No, I can be silken. I can be firm. I can.
You can be
I can
firm.
be General So's tofu, and I can also just be like mellow tofu.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good skill when it comes to meeting new people, is that you try to match their energy, right?
Well, and just adapt and
Yeah.
accommodate their needs and a friend's. It's not saying that I don't have a personality. I do. It's just I have learned the skill to be what they need in that moment and just be okay with that. You know, I don't try to fight myself, which sometimes I think, you know, a lot of people do. They feel like they have to like overcompensate. And sometimes I felt like, you know, because I am a little bit more neutral, in some areas, are people not really seeing the real me? So then I try to overcompensate some. So just be comfortable with who you are, and, you know, you'll find the right people who do like you for who you are.
I love that. I do have a question though, because this is something I struggle with. I have tofu moments in which I notice myself chameleoning.
I get that, yeah.
And that doesn't leave a lot of room to be myself. Now, my way of dealing with that is I'm just trying not to give as much of a shit about that. Like, I'm just trying to be more authentic and just be who I am in some of these situations. Now, sometimes it's not that easy because I think that can kind of lead to one-sided friendships in which you're giving yourself to kind of match who the other person is. And so I'm curious for you guys, like, what are some of your observations with like one-sided friendships, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of experience with that. I don't know. I struggle with it personally because I don't like to end friendships. I'm not very good at it. When it comes to conflict with work or, helping students with conflict, I think I do a pretty good job when it comes to conflict of people that I genuinely care about. I do struggle with that. I've gotten better with it, but it's something that I've been trying to work on. So with one-sided friendships, I personally, for me, I think it has to come down to a conversation with that person. You have to be brave enough to say, hey, I feel like I'm giving a lot and I feel like I would like to see this in return, and being very direct. And you could try the sandwich approach of saying something really great about the friendship and then
A compliment sandwich.
compliment sandwich, there it is, and then giving your critique about what you want to see and then ending with something that you like or an example that you've seen them show up. I know that's a great strategy, but it's an uncomfortable situation. It just is all around. I know for me, for one-sided friendships, I like to do things for people, but I'm trying to do better about saying no as well. Like when I need time to do something, or, I just want to be able to be honest. And so in a one-sided friendship, you want to be honest. So going back to those honest roots and understanding what you want from the friendship can be a great first step before having the conversation with that person.
So I'll go ahead and add to that. I feel like within our friend circle here, a lot of us tend to be more of like the nurturers in friendships, and I feel like that specifically is a hard place to be in a friendship because we will naturally just do more than 50%. We ask very little in return, and so we overextend ourselves. We really put the needs of others before ourselves, and that's okay. That's what our roles are in friendships. But I'll say specifically within having like 3 nurturers as a friend group, it's so interesting.
I think what's also interesting is when you're the nurturing friend, and I think in whichever archetype people identify with, and I can't even name them all because I'm sure there's some that I'm not even aware of, because sometimes I feel like I'm a hybrid of the mom friend and the party friend all in one.
I agree with that.
You're the party mom.
But I think when you do have a one-sided friendship, it is a lot easier if you're especially the person putting in that work to get burnt out and then shut down, not only from that friendship, but from all of your friendships, especially if there's like mental health. And of course, none of us are therapists, but I personally struggle with anxiety and depression. And to me, that can lead to times when a lot is going on. I just shut down and I completely back out and I kind of go in a radio silence. And sometimes people kind of pull me out of it a little bit, even though it's not their job to. That has to be on me. I've just noticed with those friendships, people might turn around and be like, oh, well, you stopped writing me. And it's like, well, I shouldn't have to write you all the time, right? Like it has to be that two-way street. And then when you're kind of there for friends and you're trying to help them through their difficult issues, but then when you're going through it, you're not seeing that back. It's hard. Part of it is, are they even aware that you're going through what you're going through?
Right, yeah.
I mean, because if you're not being vulnerable and honest about it, they can only push so hard before you might snap on them. But the other piece of that is, if you are vulnerable with them and they're not following up, that's hard too, because how much do we put on that person? But then how much are you giving to, right? So like, do you have to make the decision to step back a little bit because it is burning you out? Like if you have a friend that is going through a tumultuous relationship and you have shared advice with them, maybe you don't need to show up as sharing advice because that's burning you out, and maybe your friend doesn't even want that. Maybe they just want you to show up and support them. Maybe they just want you to listen. For a long time, I wanted to be the advice friend because I thought I had all the answers. The secret is that I don't have all the answers. Have you guys seen that video about the woman with the nail in her head?
No.
So that was really powerful for me, and it's actually changed my perspective. When I saw this video of this woman and this guy, they were sitting on a couch talking. She's got a big nail in her head, And the lady's like, I've just got all this pain and my jacket keeps getting caught. And the guy's like, just take the nail out of your head. Just take it out. Like, if you just took the nail out, you'd be fine. And she's like, you always want to make it about the nail. You don't want to hear me. You don't want to talk to me. And, like, he's just really annoyed because she won't take his advice. And she's really annoyed because he won't hear her. I think that perspective has changed friendship for me. Mm-hmm. Because I have now I'm not perfect. Listen, a girl still gives advice. But I will be more cognizant and asking the person directly, do you want support or do you want feedback? Yeah. And my mom started doing that to me. That's how I learned that skill. And I think that's changed so many of my relationships. Because when you actually know going in what that person needs and what you need, it's such a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. I mean, even with, like I said in the beginning, I had some GI issues going on. A lot of people would try to tell me different things to try. And, like, without even me telling them that I'm already talking to a doctor and trying to figure out some stuff, right? But, like, they always wanted to tell me something I could do differently rather than just listening to me complain that I really wanted queso. Because that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to complain.
Like, you can't have it. You're restricting certain things, but, like, you still just miss it. I think just asking people, what do you need from me, is like really the biggest thing that I have taken. And again, just meeting people where they're at. I so wish more of my friendships had asked me that in return. And part of me kicks myself because I should have just been more transparent in what my needs were. But too often we just try to be too strong, and we try to hold on to things, and we feel like we're a burden. But in a healthy relationship with friends, they will want to help take a lot of that weight off of your shoulders. And honestly, most of the time, that weight is just confiding in them. It's not them necessarily trying to help solve issues for you, but being a listener and just hearing your side without passing judgment, without trying to change the situation per se. Just truly being there in that moment is what I appreciate probably the most when I confide in you guys, is it's just the support.
When you are the person that is venting, I think it's important to take stock within yourself. How much do you really feel comfortable sharing? And how much do you feel you think you're supposed to share in a friendship, right? Because I think there are times, especially when we first meet people and we feel like instant connection, we may feel like, oh, we need to bare our soul to this person so that they can remember me and they can connect with me. And that's not the case. Like, it's okay to not tell people everything. Sometimes you can, and that's totally fine. I think you and I, Kristen, had, a 5-hour conversation about our lives?
Yes, it was at a coffee bar.
Yes, and it was beautiful. And so I say that with a grain of salt because sometimes you just meet people and you click and it's automatic. But don't feel like you have to share things about yourself if you're not ready or if you don't want to share those things yet. It's okay for friendship to be at your pace. I think the big thing is being able to communicate. And if vulnerability is beautiful when it is consensual and when it feels right. And I think when people try to force vulnerability, it doesn't come off right? Because we might not feel ready to share those parts of ourselves, but we feel societally pressured to.
Yeah, and it becomes ingenuine. The experience, oversharing does put the other person in a difficult position because they may not be emotionally at the point where they can handle that as well. So let things happen organically. Let things happen at your pace, both of your paces. So just read the situation, I guess.
Like Michael in the show.
Oh, yes, like Michael. We're tying it back. I'm sorry.
I am Michael, Kristen's husband.
Yes.
What?
I have
Michael, the 12-year-old.
I have too many Michaels in my life.
But yeah, I think it's funny because when we talk about vulnerability, it sounds like we're talking about sex in a lot of ways.
But sex is vulnerable.
It's intimacy.
Vulnerable. Yeah. And any kind of emotional intimacy can be scary, but vulnerability is important in friendships. So our challenge for you this week is you don't have to be vulnerable with someone else, but damn, at least be vulnerable with yourself. Whether you journal or you share something, or you could look us up on Facebook. You can write something, an insight that you have about Kid Nation, this week's episode, or a vulnerable truth that you're ready to share, and we're excited to read it. Please know, once again, we are not therapists. No one in the Facebook group is a therapist.
Nope.
Anything you choose to share there is public information. If you choose to meet someone on there, that is your choice. We are not legally liable for that. Nope. If you decide to become friends with someone on there, that is your choice. We are not legally liable for that. But we encourage you to follow us on social media. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really enjoyed watching Kid Nation and sharing some of our thoughts with you and just about friendship in general. If there's something you want us to watch or continue conversation on, please let us know. You can email us at solvingthefriendemic@gmail.com. And until next time, this is Sabrina.
Kristen.
And Holly.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Guten Tag.
Welcome to the outtakes. Solving the Friendemic. Even emotional
Anemone.
Anemones.
Anemones.
Intimanous nemesis.
Please don't cancel me. I know nothing.
Sorry. I am talking in the mic. Talking in the mic.
Hello? Wow. Wow. Wow.
Can you hear each other?
Yes. I can hear her being Owen Wilson. Yes. Do you want to hear it? Or we can get an idea? Here you go.
Live on the headphones.
I am talking in the mic. Talking in the mic. Talking in the mic. Talking in the mic.
I think this is a good mic chat.
You look like you're about to eat the mic like a chicken. I know you don't like those.
I like that we've suddenly become an ASMR podcast.
Yes, immediately. Once you put something in front of someone and they can hear it, they're going to start making noises.
I'm just stroking my finger.
Or be like Dolly Parton.
Oh, it's so weird. But also I got the tingles. So
I got
See, I
you.
don't get tingles. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, ooh.
what?
But not in a good way, like bad tingles.
What about sexual tingles?
No, it's not a sexual tingles.
See, I think we're missing out because can I borrow your mic for a second, Holly?
That's what I was going to do. See if I can
There
do
could be. Oh shit!
that. Oh, it's right here.
It's turning on us. I feel like we're missing out on Dolly Parton ASMR. Like, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take my man. Jolene. Oh my god, not the gas. All
It's
gas.
the gas.
No, all gas, no brakes.
That made me die laughing. That was so funny. Also, you roasting me about vegetables made me just fucking die and like listening to it. Like I full on had to stop cooking because I was laughing so hard for both of those instances.
My favorite part is when Kristen roasted my reading abilities. And the fact that I have a master's, but I haven't read The Giver. I was like, I don't see a correlation. But okay. That's actually, there we go. That really should be the podcast, is roasting
Just
ASMR.
roasting.
But in ASMR, like, hey, have you ever heard of a fucking rutabaga? Holly, remember when you didn't eat vegetables?
And then you just like get a carrot and like
Start grating it.
Yeah, like with your nail or something. Yeah, like just doing like I forgot to put moisturizer on. Oh man, it's my face.
I think this was a good.
Listen to my dry flakiness. Do you hear the flakes coming off of my face?
I hear the flakes of my dandruff.
So interesting.
Hear the flakes coming off of my face.
Oh,
Dandruff.
like this, like you hear it.
Oh wait, let me put the mic closer to you so they can really.
You could
Now,
actually hear it.
do we sound loud enough in the mics?
Well, in my ears, yes, but I have to play this back to make sure that it's
Okay, let's play it and let's see.